before I've even told a story here, I've already learned that before I tell a story somewhere, I should see what the makeup of the audience is. Because I might not want to tell certain things in front of certain audiences. So some of you folks might need to steel yourselves up in portions of the story. For example, are there any Grateful Dead fans out there? You might need to steel yourselves up. Are there any people from Chicago's marvelous western suburbs here tonight? You might need to steel yourselves up for a portion or two of the story. Are there any white people here? That's what I thought. It'll go by quickly. So anyway, this is an absolutely true story. And this happened to me last summer. It was mid-July on a Monday, a little bit after noon. I can nail it down that much. I had just finished teaching a workshop at Columbia College from 9 a.m. to noon, and I was driving back up to the north side. I don't know why I was driving. Normally, it's not a good idea to drive downtown, especially during the summer, but especially any time of year. So, a 9 a.m. workshop, that means I was on Lakeshore Drive for morning rush hour. That's horrible. Then you have to pay $5 for parking, and then coming back, it's like a minute. $5 an hour. I'm sorry. That's a lot. I don't drive a lot. But anyway, coming back is like, because of all the street closures for the festivals and the construction and the tourists, it's a nightmare. So, like an idiot, on this Monday, mid-July last summer, I was driving north on Wabash. Here was my plan. I was going to take a right and head east on Balbo to Lakeshore Drive and back up to the north side and civilization. Right? So I turned right on Balbo, and it was a disaster. Double, triple parked cabs, tourist buses. It was going to take me 10 minutes to drive 1 block up to Michigan Avenue. So I'm on Balbo, about a block away from Michigan Avenue. Who's familiar with that intersection? Does anybody know? Yeah? Can somebody tell me what is right there? Balbo, Michigan. What's right there? The lake? No. Why don't I just tell you?
Yeah.
It's Chicago's legendary Blackstone Hotel. 244 USD per night, I checked. So I have a very fond memory of the Blackstone Hotel. This is many, many years ago, 32, 33, 34 years ago, when I was in college. My favorite musician, my favorite artist probably ever, was performing at the Blackstone, Count Basie. Wow. So yeah, he died in '84, so this must have been just a year or two right before he passed. But anyway, I rented a tuxedo, jumped in a cab, took it from Hyde Park all the way downtown to the Blackstone. I was in, I'm sure, big band heaven for about 4 hours. Then I jumped in another cab and right back down to my dorm. This was kind of a brave thing back in those days. They tried to keep us, they were always like, don't go north of 53rd, do not go south of the Midway, do not go west of Cottage Grove. But actually getting in a cab and going downtown was something that many students didn't do for their whole 4 years there. So anyway, I thought while I was stuck in traffic on Balboa, I might just turn my head a little bit to the left and look at the Blackstone Hotel and reminisce on one of my best nights ever in Chicago. So that's what I did. I turned to look at the Blackstone Hotel, and what I saw, I want to get the words right. What I saw disturbed and bewildered me. I have never ever used the word bewildered, but it's the absolute perfect word. What I saw when I looked at the Blackstone Hotel, all across the facade, standing out in front, beautiful marble, glass and brass, in front of all that stuff, I saw hippies. Not just 3 or 4 hippies. I'm going to go with this number. I saw 50 hippies. Now, I don't know. I have some judgment, I guess, that I need to get out about hippies. Maybe you can tell. But in my mind, anyway, a hippie is the absolute last type of a person you would expect to see standing in front of a luxury hotel. Hippies don't sleep in hotels. And places like the Blackstone, they represent everything in the world that is wrong to a hippie. All the privilege and entitlement and accumulated wealth. What in the heck were hippies doing? 50 of them. 50. Dozens of hippies standing out in front of that hotel. Well, how do I know they were hippies? Here's why. Every single one of them was wearing full hippie regalia. Head to toe. Beaded headbands to moccasins. Tie-dyed this, bell-bottom that. Denim skirts, denim vests, denim everything, and suede fringe galore. These hippies looked costumed. So my first thought was, oh my God. Not that, but I was like, it's the National Touring Company of Hair. I'm like, it's Monday, it's their equity day off. Maybe, a little bit after noon, they're all going out to have brunch together as a cast. But then I thought, why would they be doing that in full hippie regalia? So then I was wrong. So my second thought was, oh my God, I've driven onto some movie set. I'm like, I need to dig in my bag and find my after SAG card, talent coming through. I could get a SAG day out of this. But no. As traffic allowed me to get closer to these hippies, I could see that they were all about the right age for an actual hippie. These were all like senior citizens. But more importantly, I noticed that every single one of them was white. Now, I don't know how you've been following certain racial things in the news, but I think, let's say, these days, you wouldn't find any Broadway cast or any Hollywood film with hippies in it without at least, I'm going to say, 25% of those hippie faces would have some color in them. Don't you think? Don't you think? I think maybe Broadway and Hollywood might be overcompensating a bit. They're trying to convince you that there were black hippies. There were not black hippies. There were black people people that the hippies were hanging out with. But let me tell you what hippies are. Hippies are white people. White people who are into black things. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Those are black people things. Sorry. Just bad news for everyone in this room. White people things are like real estate and guns and appropriating other cultures' food and music. And that's when it finally struck me who these so-called hippies were. The weekend before, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even Thursday, I don't know, the Grateful Dead were in concert at Wrigley Field. These fake-ass hippies drove into town with their hippie costume, parked their luxury sedans in the parking lot across from their luxury hotel. They jumped in Ubers to go up north to Wrigleyville to see the concerts. And then when it got dark outside, they all jumped in a different Uber and drove right back downtown to the comfort of their luxury hotel rooms. $244 USD per night. That's their cheapest room. And now that their weekend of fun was over, Monday, a little bit afternoon, checkout time, duh, these fake-ass hippies, these hippie crits, were going to jump back into their luxury sedans and drive back out to Burr Ridge or wherever the Eisenhower takes people. I don't know, I don't want to know. My bewilderment had given way to disgust at these fake-ass, pretending hippies. And that had given way eventually to anger. And I admit I hollered, yelled at several of these senior citizens as I was still stuck in traffic, and I even flipped them off as they were jaywalking in front of my car to the parking lot. And I have to say, I have to give them credit. They gave it right back to me in kind. So good for them, right? Because who am I to judge? Wasn't it 32, 33, 34 years ago? I was doing pretty much the same damn thing. Putting on a rented suit, jumping in a cab, going to a fancy hotel, pretending, and then jumping in another cab and going back home to Hyde Park, a somewhat safe and elite neighborhood. I'm no better than those people. Jerry Garcia, said about his art and about his fans, quote, "We're like licorice. No, not everybody likes licorice, but the people who like licorice really like licorice." That's pretty good, unquote. Well, if I am indeed to judge, then number one, big band jazz is the best music ever. Number two, the Grateful Dead suck. And their fans are morons. And their music is stupid and a gross misappropriation of black people music known as rock and roll. And number three, I really like licorice. Thank you. Good evening.